Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is going to be this pearl oyster charm, which is just so cute. I was inspired to make this by the amazing ClayCollectibles, and she did a really cute one, and she's also made a tutorial for hers, so I'm going to link that down below and on the screen right now. So what you're going to need for this tutorial is some pearl coloured clay. This one is my favourite one and it is by Fimo. I use it for everything. You're also going to need a colour which you want the oyster to be. I'm making kawaii version, so in this video I'm making a blue one, and before I made a pink one. I completely forgot to show it here, but you're also going to need some kind of powdered pigment. So I'm using Pearl X powder, but you can use chalk pastels or something else. So the tools for this tutorial are really minimal, so I'm literally only going to be using this needle tool. I think this is by Sculpey, and if I can find a link to it I will leave it in the description box for you. So this is completely optional, but I will also be using a very small amount of liquid Fimo. This is not necessary, I'm just using it to strengthen the charm. You're also going to need some pre-baked and pre-made pearls. So I just did this by taking some pearl clay, I rolled it into a ball, I added a face and then I baked them. So that's everything you're going to need, so let's get on with the tutorial. Start by taking the colour of your choice, which in my case is blue, and rolling out 2 balls. These balls need to be the same size because it's going to be the top and the bottom of the shell. So once you've got 2 balls that are the same size, you then just want to create a teardrop shape for both of them, which you can just do by rolling on one of the sides so it's tapered. Then, using your fingers, you just want to press that down flat. So basically you're just trying to get a very rounded triangular shape. So once you've got that rough shape that you're after, you can then press it down onto your work mat and make sure that the bottom is flat, and this also makes it easier to continue to shape it. Once you've done that for one of them, you then want to repeat the process for the other one. You can use the first shell that you made as a guide to make sure that they're roughly the same size. It doesn't really matter, you know, you're not going to find the perfect oyster in real life, but if you want them as symmetrical as possible, you can use this as a template. It's now time to add the detail, so just take one of your shells and press it firmly onto your mat so it's not going anywhere. Now you just want to indent the clay with your needle tool. So first I just mark out where I want the lines to be using my needle tool, and then I will go in and deepen them. You can of course make as many lines as you'd like, it just depends on the size of your shell and how big your oyster is, but I usually make 5 per shell and that's just what works for me. So now I'm holding the shell and continuing to deepen the lines. This just helps get all the way around the side of the shells, which is what you really want. I'm also going to be pinching the end, which gives this really pretty effect that you find on a lot of seashells. I also find it easier to indent the other side of the lines when I'm holding it, as you can get right round the shell as you can see here, which is what you want, and you want to continue the detail on the other side, as you will see this on your charm. So you're obviously going to want to repeat all of these processes on the other shell, and then when you've done that you'll have 2 pieces that will fit together nicely like this. So the next step is to take your pre-baked pearl and just indent on one of the shells where you want it to be. So I'm going to be adding some depth to my charm, so I'm going to be using Pearl X powder, but you can use any kind of pigment, so that could be eyeshadow or chalk pastels, it just has to be in a powder format. This doesn't have to be particularly neat because it will be on the inside, but it's just going to add a really nice effect to the charm. So once it's finished, this is what it should look like. So I'm now going to take some liquid Fimo and I'm going to place a tiny bit of that in the indentation we made with the pearl earlier. So this is the slightly fiddly part where you're going to sandwich the pearl between the 2 shells. So just place it in that indentation that we made earlier and place one of the shells over the top. So now just pinch the sides and the end and you have a cute little pearl in an oyster. So this process might get rid of some of the detail, so I'm just going over it all with my needle tool again. To turn what we've made into a charm, I'm just taking the same needle tool and I'm poking a hole where the 2 shells meet at the back. You can of course use an eye pin of some sort, but this is just the way that I like to do it. So the last step is just to bake this to your package instructions and then you're finished. You can of course glaze this afterwards or not, depending on your personal preference. I do like to glaze these, I think they look very pretty. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I have done another sea creature tutorial, which was this really adorable starfish. So if you want to see that tutorial, you can click on the screen right now. You can also check out my vlogs that I've been posting recently by clicking on the screen right now as well. And don't forget to check out all of my social media. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.